YB stays on your neck.
He's on my neck.
I heard that he got knocked out in sparring, and his dad didn't want him to fight, but Hearns, being Hearns greedy, he got to keep the generational wealth for his family. He wanted him to get in there because it was a lot at stake. But when a fighter don't want to fight, and when somebody's seeing something, you can't force no one to fight. You gotta, but it's easy for somebody on the outside that's just collecting a check and ain't gotta get hit not one time. Say, get in there, yeah, you can do it. Come on, man, he's a small guy, he's fat, you can get him out of there. Yeah, it's easy said than done. If he wasn't feeling right, if something was wrong, and his getting knocked over in sparring and talking about, and he had to make up stories when everyone seen his eyes the way it was. He had to say his physio, it came from physio, but when a mark ever come from physio, then had to switch it up to certain things, and then came out when I had killers in sparring. The confidence was very strong, and then you come into the mega of boxing. Your first time in America fighting, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot going in and dealing with what's at stake.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So we just heard there from Deontay Wilder, and I gotta say, listen, let me call a spade a spade. Let me tell you, man, where I'm sitting now. I am sitting on the side of AJ was concussed and had a panic attack. There's too much smoke. I'm seeing articles with sources saying it happened. The only people who are denying it, the only people who are saying AJ was fine, were the people who legally cannot say anything. AJ, McCrackhead, he hadn't even said anything. McCrackhead, silent, funny enough. But Eddie Hearn can't say anything. He loses license. But everyone else is saying something ain't right. World Boxing News making articles with sources in. Why ain't Eddie Hearn and AJ legally shutting them down, taking them articles off if they're not factually true? Why is Joey coming out saying no comment? If it didn't happen, you'd say it didn't happen. I didn't knock him out. Next thing, everyone's trying to contact Joey. No comment. No comment. Yeah? If it didn't happen, you say, listen, these are all rubbish. These are lies. It didn't happen. Joey ain't going to say that because it did. Everyone else, Derek Chisora saying this wouldn't have happened in the UK. AJ wouldn't have been forced to go in the ring in the UK, most likely. Yeah? All these things that add up. Everyone talking about stuff not going on right. And the bottom line is, even Deontay Wilder here saying, we've heard about the stuff. Now, Deontay Wilder could just be jumping on the bandwagon, but let's not forget, Deontay Wilder was the one who said AJ is a quitter. Now, I'm pretty sure Deontay Wilder would much prefer to go along the lines of Anthony Joshua is just an out-and-out quitter. He hasn't done that, though. He's now talking about how AJ didn't look right in the ring. Look at his eye. Talking about the marks, talking about the physio and whatnot. Yeah? Surely Deontay Wilder should be the one saying, listen, there was nothing wrong with Anthony Joshua on that night. He looked perfect to me. He's just a quitter with no balls. He ain't saying that now. He's saying, he's going along the lines of AJ weren't well and Hearn forced him in there. And what do we know? Let's go with the facts now. And Frank Warren said this as well. The Hearns have put people in the ring when they've not been right in the past. That's not my words, that's Frank Warren's. Factually, go and watch the interview on IFL TV. I'm just going with what people are saying. As I say every time, I only report what other people or other sources have talked about. Don't come and shoot the messenger. Go and talk to them. Go and talk to the sources that I show you. Deontay Wilder now saying this. Dylan White saying he didn't look right. Why is everyone saying this? Is it just all? Are we all just seeing something? Are we all just living on plough cuckoo land? And Joshua was perfect. Every single person. I'm not a boxing insider. Every single boxing insider is saying things ain't right. AJ's worst enemy, Wilder, things weren't right. AJ weren't looking right. Or I've heard AJ weren't looking right before. I've heard of sparring rumours. Confidence shot. What do we know? AJ comes out well before round 3. AJ comes out backing up, looking shook. Yeah? Which implies he had low confidence, which implies he's been hurt in sparring 8 days before. The mark on his face. Another great example. Physio. I didn't do a video on it, but at the time I thought, physio? What possible physio could that be? There isn't none. Let me tell you now, there is no physio that could have been done on your cheekbone. Come on. Wow. And the fact that, this goes a long way to show, the fact that AJ was lying about the mark on his cheek, that shows insecurity. Because most people, I've seen Tyson Fury with marks before. if he's asked about it, he said, yeah, I've been having some wars in sparring. AJ didn't. He tried to cover it up, which shows insecurity, which shows lacking confidence. All the way through it all. Like staying up till 3 a.m. the night before to watch Ruiz videos. That's not a confident man. A confident man would be saying, you know what, I've done my training camp, I've done my research, this guy's going to get to work. Sharing the belts and giving the belts to Ruiz and Smite, it's still weird. Real weird. Not being sure after the fight if he wanted the rematch. He sat there like, yeah, well, if Ruiz wants it, and yeah, this is all. It's all a big circle of a big pot, a big shocking pot. Anyway, let's get to it with what Wilder said. Let's break it down. I've heard AJ got knocked down in sparring, and his dad didn't want him to fight. And this is the thing as well. If it's not true, why ain't AJ's dad coming out? Surely, if this was all made up, why haven't we seen a public comment from AJ's dad saying, listen, these are all lies. I wasn't angry at Hearn because of that. That's what I'd be thinking. If it was all made up, if none of this was true, why hasn't AJ's dad come out publicly and shut this all down? The reason he wouldn't come out publicly to shut it down is because it happened. Simple. Now, you might say, oh, well, AJ's dad hasn't come out publicly to say it did happen, but he's not going to do that, is he? He's not going to drop other people in the ring. Now, after other people, McCracken, Eddie Hearn, in it. But one thing is, the fact that he hasn't come out to clear up all these rumours about in the ring after the fight, he's probably sitting there thinking, you know what, I'm not going to say any more, but I'm not going to come out and lie for them. As a father, that makes sense to me. Also as a father, in the ring, being emotional, being vexed. I'm sorry, if AJ had lost and nothing else had gone on, look at AJ's dad, look at AJ. Look at the man who's built AJ. Very humble. I do not believe AJ's dad would have been going at Eddie just because he solely lost. No, don't believe it. Don't believe it for 1 second. I believe AJ's dad had reservations before the fight, and that's why he said, Hearn, you're getting it. Because otherwise, why would he be going at Hearn for? It doesn't make any sense. AJ loses and he goes at Hearn. That makes no damn sense to me at all. The only way it makes sense is because of that. Eddie Hearn's now denying it, talking about, and it's funny, I'm going to do a video on this, but Eddie Hearn did an interview with Sky. And he comes out and says, oh yeah, everyone's making conspiracy theories. Yeah, everyone's looking for a reason to take away from Ruiz. And I thought, that's very interesting. Even Eddie Hearn's now coming out and trying to take the spotlight off of himself and put it onto Ruiz. Oh yeah, everyone's taking credit away from Ruiz. No one's taking credit from Ruiz. What you're trying to do is get the spotlight off of you. You want people to be sitting here sucking Ruiz off so that you, a McCrackhead, aren't in the spotlight for potential. In fact, Warren said it himself. This is not a joke, and we know Eddie Hearn, honestly, Eddie Hearn's incriminated himself many times after the Povetkin fight with the flu. Oh yeah, I put Joshua in there with the flu. When he's winning, no one thinks twice about it. But on hindsight, it's a bit unscrupulous. I put him in the ring with the flu. I put him in with glandular fever. Glandular fever's no joke, and to be honest with you, the flu's also no joke. If I'm honest. And it's interesting as well. What do we know about the Povetkin fight? He was fighting with a low lead hand, which could have been because he couldn't. When you got the flu, you feel low energy. It's a lot harder to keep both hands up than it is just one. But that's here nor there. Anyway, Deontay Wilder goes on to say, Hearns was greedy and pushed him in there. But when a fighter doesn't want to fight and someone's seeing something isn't right, you can't force them in there. And this is what I've been saying. You got all these goons. Like, I'm sorry, I rate Dylan White over the last few days for some things he's said. Other things, he's his typical goony self. But one of the things he said was, oh, well, yeah, I don't believe Joshua had a concussion. I don't believe Joshua had a panic attack because he's a 6'6" man who couldn't possibly be forced to go into the ring. You don't understand. It's not about the physical. Yeah, it's about the psychological part of it. Anthony Joshua is not going to want to let his fans down. As I said in my other video, Max Holloway was cleared to fight by the doctors and he was willing to fight. His team, the only reason he didn't fight wasn't because he said, no, I'm not fighting, was because his team said, you're not right, you're not fighting. That's what we have to do. Dylan White must know this. Dylan White must know. Look at the AJ versus Dylan White fight. He went in the ring with a bad arm or whatever. And I've said myself, if AJ had an elbow injury or any mechanical injury, I wouldn't be making videos. I couldn't care less. That's your business. You should get through it as a champion. Simple. But the brain, I'm sorry, if I ever backtrack on this, call me out for it. If Wilder, Fury, anyone I don't like in that sense, if they ever have alleged brain trauma, and I say, oh no, you should have got on with it, call me. I'll never say that. The brain is a complete different kettle of fish. That's what I understand medically speaking. And it makes sense to me as well. It controls everything. Simple. And he was put in there, I believe he was put in there, as per the rumours. If it's not true, Eddie Hearn and AJ, get your legal teams out and shut down World Boxing News. Call him a liar. Let's see how it works out in court. They're not doing that because it happened. And you can't sue against the truth. That's in my opinion anyway. Maybe in the next few weeks we'll hear something about it, but I just don't believe these companies can come out, and this is potentially that report is potentially a slanderous report because it implies that Eddie Hearn and McCracken put him in there with a concussion 8 days before. So I don't believe World Boxing News. Other people have told me, oh well, World Boxing News have reported wrong news before. Like they reported Wilder versus Ortiz or AJ versus Ortiz was signed. But that's not slanderous. Getting information wrong, that's not. No one's going to sue you for saying, oh well, you said this fight was booked. But this is slanderous and they ain't said squat. So I'm rolling with it. Everything I keep seeing is hearing about this, that, the other. I'm not hearing nothing to the contrary. The only people who are coming out to the contrary are the ones, Hearn, AJ, McCrackhead. They're the ones who can't admit it. They'll find themselves not promoting anymore. They'll find themselves with their trainer's license gone. So that's no good. You need to be hearing third-party sources coming out and verifying it. There ain't none. Everyone else is sitting there saying, Frank Warren, Dylan White, Deontay Wilder saying things ain't right, so I'm riding with it until I see otherwise. Simple. He then says, it's easy for someone on the outside, and he goes on to say, it's easy for someone on the outside like Hearn to say, oh yeah, Ruiz is a small fighter. Go on, you can get in there, you can do it. And that's what I believe probably happened. Don't get me wrong, I don't believe Hearn and or McCracken put him in there thinking they were going to lose. But, and actually on that point, let me say this quickly before I go into that. I also think it's very interesting. I've been criticising McCracken, for not coming out and making a public statement. Now, does it follow, if he knew that Joshua was concussed, if I knew a fighter was concussed and I put him in the ring, I probably wouldn't make a statement. Because I'd probably know what it was. Now, if it wasn't a concussion, I'd be a lot more willing to come forward and just make a statement. He can't make a statement because he knows what it is. He knows this wasn't AJ on his best day. He knows it. He knows things weren't right. The whole lot of it smells fishy.com. And ultimately, what was people say? Oh, YOB clutching at straws here. The bottom line is, what was the delay in the changing room? I've debunked it. The groin guard. The groin guard sorted out months before, or days before at worst. And this isn't a thing that can change. Oh well, it doesn't fit right. Well, how long have you been boxing for? You don't change your groin guard. It's not like a pair of gloves. You don't say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have a different pair of gloves every day. There's only a few groin guards to choose from. There's not that much customization, and you would have chosen it weeks before. I'm having that groin guard. I use it all the time. You see what I'm trying to say? It's really not rocket science. Groin guard on, and as I said myself, the groin guard is one of the first pieces of kit you put on. Yeah, you have to put it on first because your shorts and other stuff go over the top of it. So I'm thinking to myself, he would have put that on at least an hour before he was due to walk out. So if it was the groin guard, wouldn't they have clocked 45 minutes, half an hour before? Because AJ would have had to have had a whole warm up with his groin guard on. Because you don't warm up with your nuts hanging out. You put your ball protector on, you put your vest on, you put your shorts on, you put your top on, you put your gloves on, bang. Then you warm up with your shorts on, with your groin guard on. So he would have warmed up with that groin guard on, no problems. You're telling me just before he walks out, after having warmed up, he then realises groin guard. No, I'm sorry. It smells fishy to me. And it smells fishy as well because no one else has mentioned the groin guard. Oh, you know, all we hear now is, oh yeah, there was nothing wrong behind closed doors. Well, if it was a groin guard, we should be hearing everyone saying, no, it was a groin guard. But whatever, that's here or there. It happened, man. I'm sorry, it happened. It happened. And if it didn't happen, why isn't Wilder coming out saying these are all lies? He seems to be riding with it, if I'm honest with you. An insider enemy seems to be convinced that Hearn put him in there when he weren't right. And I tend to agree, I'm sorry, from what I've observed of the performance. So as I was saying, it's easy for someone on the outside, but yeah, so, like I said, I don't believe McCracken and Eddie Hearn put him in there thinking he was going to lose. They put him in there on the basis that he'd beat Povetkin with the flu. He'd beat Dominic Breazeale with glandular fever, and they thought, you know what? They probably don't understand concussions anyway, if I'm honest with you. Like, most people don't. Like, I've heard all these goons talking about on YouTube, oh, yeah, concussions like any other injury. Yeah, Ruiz could have had an injury as well. Yeah, all right, haven't got a clue, that's clear. So, just like them lot, just like all these other 50-year-old dudes who haven't got a clue about what's going on, or haven't got a clue about concussions. Hearn and McCracken probably didn't have a clue either. And they thought, you know what, this is like any other injury. Just put him in there. Yeah, look, little fat dude. Yeah, 25 to 1 odds. This is what they were thinking. They put him in there, and that's why when AJ's dad went at Eddie Hearn, he looked sheepish. Look at the picture. He looked sheepish. Like, oh, my bad, sort of thing. And now he's coming out talking like, oh yeah, people are trying, all the conspiracy theorists are trying to take away from Ruiz. No, you're trying to get the spotlight off your head. You'd love it if YB was on here talking about, yeah, respect to Ruiz knocked out the best Joshua. You'd love that, because you'd be sitting there wiping your head thinking, I got away with that one. That was lucky. Nah, I'm not having it. I'm not having it myself. I don't believe it. I don't believe that was the best Joshua, unfortunately. Not for a second. I don't believe that was an okay Joshua with no problems. And like I say, it's simple. This is easily solved for me. Sue World Boxing News. Get him to take the article down, and then we can have another conversation. I'll put a video up saying, listen, guys, the sources that heard that AJ got hurt 8 days before have been taken down. I apologise. I've said this before. If I'm wrong, I will put my hands up and apologise absolutely. 100%. I've got no problem doing that, but until I see some irrefutable evidence, I'm sorry. And this is the other thing. Is there not cameras back there? Simple as that. In the changing rooms, I'm pretty sure they have cameras. Some sort of camera somewhere. Just get some live footage proof up. There must have been a camera back there. Get proof up. Get proof that before the fight, he was changing his thing. Simple. That'll be easily solved. By the way, guys, we've heard the rumours. Here's the back footage proof. I've seen it before. I've seen back footage proof before. I mean, back footage videos before. But anyway, that's here not there. Wilder goes on to say, if AJ wasn't feeling right, and then talks about the marks on his face and whatnot. And I'm not going to go into that. I've already talked about that. Yeah, all of it smells fishy. And Wilder, people can say, oh, well, Wilder's just going on the bandwagon because he hates Eddie Hearn. But also, he can't stand Joshua. I'm pretty sure Wilder would rather go along the lines of AJ's got no heart, but he don't seem to be talking about debunking these conspiracies. And as I keep saying, I'm sure Wilder would prefer to say, listen, there was nothing wrong with Joshua. He was tip top. He was the best he's ever looked, but he's just got no heart and is a crap fighter. He ain't saying that. He's going along the lines, Eddie Hearn put him in there for the money. And like I say, based on history, he ain't looking good.